first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off.
The View is facing a massive $800 million lawsuit from Karoline Leavitt. The lawsuit is shaking up daytime TV, with The View's hosts now desperate for damage control. Why does this matter? Because it's a battle over media accountability and defamation. In a dramatic turn of events, The View finds itself caught in a high-stakes legal battle with White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. Leavitt has filed an $800 million defamation lawsuit against the show's hosts, alleging that their on-air comments have severely damaged her reputation. This lawsuit has sent shockwaves through the media industry, raising questions about free speech, journalistic integrity, and the responsibilities of public figures.
White House, I actually learned that I have been sued by the Associated Press.
Oh, that means, okay, we cannot. Okay.
Now, the real question is, what started the lawsuit? The conflict began when The View hosts made a series of controversial remarks about Karoline Leavitt during a live broadcast. The discussion centered around Leavitt's role as White House press secretary, with hosts criticizing her handling of press briefings and questioning her qualifications. Some comments turned into personal territory, with implications about her professional ethics and competence.
Let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. It's about man's inhumanity to man.
Leavitt, known for her assertive presence in the press room, took exception to these statements. She contends that the host's remarks were not only unfounded, but also malicious, aiming to damage her personal and professional reputation. The escalation from televised critique to legal action underscores the controversial nature of the discourse and highlights the fine line between opinion and defamation in media. But the real question is, why is Leavitt taking The View to court? In response to the broadcast, Leavitt filed a defamation lawsuit seeking $800 million in damages. The suit alleges that the host's statements were defamatory, causing significant harm to her career and personal life. Leavitt's legal team argues that the comments have led to public ridicule, loss of professional opportunities, and emotional distress. The lawsuit emphasizes that while public figures are subject to scrutiny, there is a legal boundary protecting individuals from false and damaging statements made with malicious intent. Leavitt's decision to pursue such a substantial claim indicates her commitment to holding media personalities accountable for their words and the impact those words can have on an individual's life.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
This case brings to the forefront the ongoing debate about the responsibilities of media outlets when discussing public figures. It raises critical questions about the balance between free speech and defamation, especially in an era where media commentary can rapidly influence public perception. As the lawsuit progresses, it is poised to set a precedent for how media discussions about public officials are conducted and the potential legal consequences of crossing the line into defamation. The moment Karoline Leavitt's $800 million lawsuit hit the news, chaos erupted behind the scenes at The View. ABC executives and the show's producers knew they were in big trouble. A lawsuit of this size isn't just bad press, it's a financial and reputational disaster waiting to happen. They needed a plan, and fast. So what did The View do? They gathered to contain the damage. The very next episode, the hosts put on their best "oops, did we do that" faces and tried to walk back their comments. The energy in the room was noticeably different. Gone were the usual sarcastic jabs and fiery debates. Instead, the panel seemed poodled, restrained. Even Joy Behar, usually the most unapologetic of the bunch, looked uncharacteristically careful with her words.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
Sunny Hostin, who was at the center of the controversy, led the charge, saying, "We always aim to have fair and open discussions, and sometimes things come out harsher than intended. If any of our words were hurtful, we deeply regret that." But let's be real, was this a genuine apology, or was it just pure desperation? Many felt it was the latter. Instead of directly taking responsibility, the hosts danced around their words, never actually saying they were wrong. They didn't mention Karoline Leavitt by name, and there was no clear admission of guilt. It felt less like a sincere apology and more like a legal maneuver, or you can say, a thinly veiled attempt to avoid an even bigger mess in court.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because
Behind the scenes, reports surfaced that ABC's lawyers were heavily involved in crafting the statement. Executives were terrified that the lawsuit could lead to a drawn-out legal battle, something they couldn't afford. ABC already has a history of messy legal fights, cough the Roseanne Barr firing, cough, and they weren't looking for another PR nightmare. But despite their carefully worded damage control, the audience wasn't buying it. The second The View aired its so-called apology, social media exploded. Twitter, or X, as Elon Musk insists we call it, was flooded with reactions, and let's just say people were not impressed. That wasn't an apology, that was a legal disclaimer. They didn't even say her name. Fake apology at its finest. So they're sorry, but not really. Got it?
New White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job. Karoline Leavitt. She's just 27 years old.
Even some of the show's longtime viewers admitted they felt disappointed. People weren't upset just because of the lawsuit itself. It was the hypocrisy. The View has built its brand on calling out politicians, celebrities, and even their own guests for problematic comments. Yet, when they were the ones in the hot seat, suddenly accountability wasn't so easy. And of course, Karoline Leavitt herself wasted no time responding. Within minutes of the apology airing, she took to social media with a simple but cutting post. An apology without accountability is just more empty words. See you in court. It might drop. Her supporters cheered her on, while critics of The View used it as more fuel for their argument that mainstream media doesn't actually practice what it preaches.
To that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that.
Even some conservative media figures weighed in, with Fox News host Jesse Waters sarcastically commenting, "Wow, a heartfelt non-apology, truly inspiring." At this point, the lawsuit wasn't just about Karoline Leavitt versus The View anymore. It had turned into a full-blown debate over media responsibility, free speech, and whether TV personalities should be held accountable for the things they say on air. So now the big question is, will ABC try to settle behind closed doors, or will this actually go to trial? Because if it does, it won't just be a battle in the courtroom, it'll be a battle in the court of public opinion. And right now, The View is losing. ABC is now in panic mode. Executives are scrambling to contain the fallout, and it's not looking good. The network has weathered scandals before, from Whoopi Goldberg's Holocaust controversy to Meghan McCain's explosive departure, but this is different. This isn't just about a controversial comment, it's about an $800 million lawsuit that could drag the network into a long, costly legal battle. Financially, ABC knows they can't afford to lose this case. If Karoline Leavitt wins, even if the payout is far less than the $800 million she's demanding, it sets a dangerous precedent for the network. It would mean that anyone who feels personally attacked by The View could follow her lead and sue. Imagine the floodgates that would open.
Criminals, as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
And it's not just about money, it's about reputation. The View has already lost credibility with a significant portion of the audience. Longtime critics say the show has turned into nothing more than a political echo chamber, and this lawsuit just adds fuel to the fire. Advertisers are reportedly getting nervous, with some considering pulling their sponsorships if the lawsuit hypes up. After all, companies don't want to be associated with a show that's constantly making headlines for all the wrong reasons. There are even rumors that ABC is considering a shakeup. Could we see another round of host firings? Could this be the final straw for Joy Behar, who has already faced backlash multiple times? Some insiders believe that if ABC wants to save the show, they might need to make a major sacrifice. Whether that's firing certain hosts, issuing a real apology, or even reaching out to Leavitt to settle the case quietly. At this point, The View is walking a tightrope. If they don't handle this right, this could be the beginning of the end for daytime TV's most infamous talk show.
That this country loves Donald Trump. And in fact, President Trump is enjoying his highest approval rating from the American people than he ever has, despite the years of lies, smears, and witch hunts by the Democrat Party.
Now the biggest question on everyone's mind, will Karoline Leavitt actually take this case to court, or will ABC try to settle before things spiral even further out of control? Right now, Leavitt is standing firm. She hasn't backed down, she hasn't hesitated, and she certainly isn't buying buying The View's half-hearted apology. If anything, her recent social media post suggests that she's more determined than ever to make an example out of the show. However, ABC might not let this go to trial. A drawn-out legal battle would be a PR disaster, keeping The View in the headlines for months, maybe even years. That's why many believe the network will offer Leavitt a massive settlement just to make the whole thing go away. But will she take it? Some believe Leavitt wants more than just money. She wants accountability. She wants The View to fully retract their statements, admit wrongdoing, and prove that they can't just say whatever they want without consequences. If that's her goal, then no amount of money from ABC might be enough to convince her to walk away. And what about The View itself? If this lawsuit actually goes to court, it could mean depositions, internal emails being exposed, and an even deeper look into how the show operates behind the scenes. Could more skeletons come out? Could ABC be forced to clean house and bring in a whole new lineup of hosts to rebuild trust? One thing is for sure, this isn't over. Whether Leavitt takes the settlement or takes ABC to court, the outcome will change the future of daytime television forever. So what do you think? Will The View survive this, or is this the beginning of the end? Should Leavitt take the settlement or fight this out in court?